This episode of Heavy Cardboard is brought to you by BoardGameTables.com. While none of us needs a gaming table, it sure would be great to have one as the centerpiece of your game days. Go check them out at BoardGameTables.com and take your gaming to the next level. Now, on to the show.
Heavy Cardboard, Episode 56, Edward Goes to Essen, Part 2.
Coming to you from Jetlag Central, welcome to Heavy Cardboard, where we talk medium and heavy strategy board games, war games, 18xx, and in this case, other related topics in the board gaming hobby. We're your hosts. I'm Edward.
And I'm Amanda.
So I'm tired.
Yeah.
I woke up at 3 a.m. for work today. No one should have to get up that early, in my opinion.
No, never.
Oh, y'all were expecting me to be tired from something else? We got a whole episode to talk about that. That's fine. So the basement, it's trudging along. You know, trudging? To trudge. The slow, weary, depressing, yet determined walk of a man who has nothing left in life except the impulse to simply soldier on. It's kind of the progress on the basement, how that feels.
Yes, that's a very apt word and description. Well done.
Although it should be done by the time we get home from BGGCon, but man, it's going to be worth it in the end. I know it's going to, but getting there has been trying at times.
We knew it was going to be, but actually going through it, it's harder.
So the 2016 Secret Elephant, the Heavy Cardboard Guild's Secret Santa, is rocking along. Last I looked, we had 80 worldwide entered to give amazingly awesome games to one another. I think that's so cool.
It's really, really cool.
If you're interested in joining, though, don't delay. Registration closes Monday, which is Halloween, October 31st, so get to it. And shipping costs can't be a reason to not enter. Thanks, once again, to Game Surplus for offering free shipping worldwide for all Secret Elephant packages. Let that sink in for a little bit. They're willing to eat the outrageous worldwide shipping costs so that all of us can focus on just giving the gift of games and joy and not having to sweat the costs associated with international shipping. That is stupid generous, and got to be honest, just huge props to Game Surplus. Thank you very much for the support.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. It's a really big stress relief for a lot of people.
Yep. And now they don't have to worry about buying a $30 game and paying $50 for shipping.
Exactly, because that's what always happens.
So we're very close to signing the contract for HeavyCon 2017 for the location.
Woohoo!
I think folks are really going to be excited about the choice of venue. If you're interested in attending, though, shoot us an email, contact@heavycardboard.com with the subject line HeavyCon 17 waitlist. The only prerequisites for attending are interact with us throughout the rest of the year, enjoy heavier games. I mean, there's 60 plus hours of gaming going on, so if you don't enjoy them, And the last thing, don't be a dick.
That's like number one, really.
It really kind of is, but in essence, it's really simple. We just make it invite only to control the growth and the numbers. So yeah, if you're interested, here's your chance.
Yeah.
I can't promise you'll get in this year, but at least you'll be on the list for next year.
Exactly.
Weight loss wise, what you got?
I have lost 2 pounds since the last update.
Woohoo!
Things are going quite smoothly in that department. What about you?
I am less than 1.5 pounds from my goal.
Skinny butt?
I last weighed in at 211.4. I have no idea what I'm going to do to treat myself when I hit it, but I suppose I best get figuring that out.
Yes, you should. Yes, you should. Oh, I won't lie. When you were gone, it was hard.
I was gone? When was I gone?
You went to Germany.
Oh, right. Yeah, about that.
You went to the biggest convention in the world. It's called Spiel in Essen, Germany. Spiel.
Yes.
And I didn't go, and I was home sad.
But you... To be clear, you didn't go because you chose not to go.
Exactly, and I know that, but
Okay.
Still.
I'll be honest, I was so busy from the moment I woke up to the moment I crashed every night. It was insane. Yeah. But I'm sure we'll talk more about that in a bit.
Absolutely. So while he was gone, I worked on getting the house a little bit more organized, so he could come home to a nice, clean house,
which was very appreciated. Let me be clear; it really, really was.
Good. There's still some things I want to get done, but I was able to get quite a bit while you were gone.
If y'all give me a moment or two, I'd like to talk about our longest tenured sponsor, Game Surplus. First off, I hope that y'all took advantage of the amazing free shipping deal that Game Surplus offered during Spiel while I was gone. Mm-hmm. Well, some of y'all may know already, but Velma and Amos recently sold the business to a longtime customer and fan of the show, Carmen Petrozelli. I want to thank Velma and Amos for taking a chance on our Little Known podcast a couple years ago and sticking with their support the whole time. We will forever owe them a debt of gratitude for helping out the show from its infancy, so thank you, Velma and Amos. I wish y'all nothing but the best in the future, and I know the decision to sell Game Surplus didn't come easily.
Thank you so much, guys. It's really meant a lot.
And I'll be honest, I had concerns when they told me that they were selling the company, as I didn't know the new owner and I didn't know what he had in mind. Well, as luck would have it, I had a chance while in Essen to sit down for about 2 hours to sit and talk about a whole bunch of things with Carmen, including gaming and the future of Game Surplus. While I can't talk about everything that we discussed, I can say this. I trust Carmen to not only continue the amazing customer service Game Surplus has basically been known for, but also to move the company forward in a very positive direction. Everything from an updated website to a larger inventory of domestic and those all-important imported titles. So having sat and listened to his plans and the direction he wants to take Game Surplus, I gotta say I'm really excited about the future, both of Game Surplus itself, but also the partnership between Heavy Cardboard and Game Surplus. Onward and upward together.
Absolutely. Any new iTunes reviews?
We did have one. Someone by the name of No Editable Boxes. Thanks a lot for the iTunes review. Appreciate it. Keep them coming, y'all. We really appreciate the ratings and especially the reviews. So please, if you haven't, we would definitely appreciate y'all doing so.
Yes, please.
And continuing to say thanks to our Patreon supporters. I'm just going to catch us up. Here we go. Adam Brocker, Ali Shaw, Ben Kutcher, Bradley Ward, Brandon Knoll, David Harmon, David Landry, Gary Rhodes, Ian Delaney, Jason Lawrence, Joshua Coker, Ken Brzezinski, Loris, Magner Sveen, Maida F., Malcolm, Matt Wilson, Michael Phoebus,
Michael Almsteg, Nell Einberg, O. Shane Balloon, Oliver Burnett Hall, Pacemaker, Paul Shorefide, Phil the Sheep, Ryan Forbes, Stefan Ebner, Stuart Cresswell, Todd Villarreal, Tony Cowley, and Tor Ivor Wilhelmsen.
I think we're finally caught up saying thanks to everybody. So, hey, how about you guys not have us be caught up for the next episode or something like that, right? All right. So as far as the contest, well, we got so many awesome voicemails, we wouldn't want them to go to waste. So stay tuned at the end of the show and listen to them.
So, on to the contest. We had 152 entries.
Wow!
And random.org spit out the number 64. That number belonged to...
Garrett!
Woo! Congrats, Garrett!
Congrats. So shoot us an email and we'll get you your choice of either Arkwright from Capstone Games or 1846 from GMT Games once we get our copy. We'll get that over to you. The good news, though, for the other 151 of y'all that entered is whatever he doesn't choose means we'll be giving it away in the future. So, hey, there's always a silver lining, right?
Yeah.
All right.
While you were in Essen, you conducted, I believe it was 20 interviews?
Is
20
that,
or 22.
You're the one editing them.
Yeah,
so.
I can't remember which one. I think it was 20.
Okay. And there's a couple more that we delayed until BGGCon just timing-wise. So the first of which we'll go ahead and give to y'all right now.
Yeah.
And that is the designer of 1880, Russian railroads, among a handful of other games, and an upcoming game that you guys, those 18XX fans out there who aren't already in the know, are going to definitely want to hear about this. So this is Lonnie Orgler, designer, like I said, of 1880 and Russian Railroads.
Enjoy.
And forgive the scratchy voice. All right, Edward here at Spiel 2016. Happy to be joined by Lonnie Orgler, designer of 1880, Russian Railroads, among other games. So thank you for joining me.
Sure, it's a pleasure.
So how's Spiel been so far for you?
Great, I just arrived today, but I love it. It's the atmosphere, it's
Electric.
really great.
It is.
Yeah.
So you have a few games out here right now. You have the new expansion for Russian Railroads.
American Railroads, yeah. And 1854, 1844, 54.
Over at Lookout in Mayfair,
Right.
which I'm grateful to finally have a copy. That's cool.
Cool.
So let me ask you, as far as design, you started with 18XX games, yes?
Right, yes, with 1837. I loved the game. My first 18XX game was 1835, and I just wanted to do one by myself. Made a bigger map, the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, and tested it several times. And then a good friend of me told me or asked me to produce some copies and sell it here on the game fair. It was 1994, it was my first game fair, and I had 5 games under my arm, and people were coming from all over and said, "Where do you get this? I want one." And immediately I had 20 copies sold, and they gave me the money for another 40 copies. And those in back days, it was only color copies or black and white copies on colored paper. So it was a game kit, but it was a success.
And it just went from there, right?
Yeah, right.
So 1880, what inspired you to design that? Because I've played it a number of times. Really enjoy that game, but it's so different than a lot of other 18XX games with the way communism works and everything else. So how did you come up with that?
Yeah, we just, Helmut and I, we collect new ideas. What could we do different to other games? For instance, he had this idea with the share round, not in straight order with operating rounds, but share rounds after the last train of a type was bought. And then I just studied Wikipedia for history and to the Chinese history, and I realized there were a lot of foreign investors, foreign countries investing in the train, in the railroad system there, and so we had the idea of the foreign investors, and so it goes on and on.
Cool. So what made you transition, I think is a good word, into more Euro games with Russian Railroads, with a train theme still, but still a Euro?
Russian Railroads was an 1886 game in the beginning. We had a Siberian map and wanted to make a Russian game, and we had this the Trans-Siberian brand. From till Vladivostok was just a single line, and then we had just 10 track tiles with a bonus system, and out of them came the engineers. So one day we decided to leave the map and just have the rail lines, and the black and gray and white track tiles were
just
yellow,
like
green, brown in the
right.
first place. But the company in Hans im Glück Verlag decided to go away from the 1886 games to have more people.
Basically, sell more copies, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. All right. So you and I were talking before we recorded about the new game First Class, and you said that was mostly Helmut, the design?
Designed by Helmut, yeah. It was just in the first days of this game, it was the Russian Railroad card game. And then Helmut and the company developed it further and further and made just a new game out of it.
So what do you have next? What anything? What's coming down the pike?
Very soon I want to bring out the new 18xx game, 18cc, in the Czech Republic. I want to publish it with Kickstarter.com.
Oh wow, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So what's it about? What makes it different?
Czech Republic it's today's borders. It was in the former days part of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. We have 15 companies, 5 small, 5 medium, and 5 large companies. 3 different train types: small, medium, large. 3 different private companies: small, medium, and large. And
Sounds like a bigger 18xx.
it takes some time. The map is not as large as normal size. But it takes a while. 15 companies is a lot, but you can overtake smaller companies if you want during the game.
Okay, when you say overtake, do you mean merge or hostile takeover type stuff?
Not hostile, but you take over. You have to buy the shares of the smaller companies from the players, then it's yours.
Okay. Any kind of time frame that we should expect to see that?
I want to start it before Christmas.
Awesome. All right, then I'm sure our listeners will be excited to hear that as much as I am. That's awesome. Well, all right. I've taken enough of your time here at Spiel, especially with it being your first day. So thank you very much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure to meet you and to talk to you.
All right, then, enjoy the rest of the Spiel.
Thank you. You too.
As y'all heard, that interview was on Saturday, and my voice was pretty much shot the last 2 days, so it only really gets worse from there, to be honest. So, but the way I see it is, you guys hear me and Amanda, but you hear me every couple weeks, so you guys don't care what I'm having to say. It's all about who I'm interviewing. So we're gonna go with that, and I'm gonna act like it's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks a lot to Lonnie for the standing, I guess it were, but for sitting for the interview, taking the time, especially with that being his first day at Essen. So thanks a lot, Lonnie. Really appreciate it. And can't wait for 18CZ. Woohoo!
All right, tuck in, everybody. Edward, what have we acquired since the last episode of Heavy Cardboard?
You know, it's funny. When I was making this list of everything, I was like, wow, there's still another 25 to 30 games on the way from the Netherlands, because Jeroen, our buddy who happens to design games for Splatter, he was nice enough to offer to ship the whatever games I couldn't fit home, because the pack and ship booth there at Spiel was really disorganized, and I was really nervous. They weren't offering tracking info and all that, so I was really nervous to do it. Plus the line was over 2 hours for that. I just didn't have time. So thankfully he was nice enough to do it. So I was like, okay, I didn't bring that much back, or I did. Here we go. Princes of the Renaissance, 2nd edition. Thanks to Mercury Games. We actually just got this yesterday.
Yeah.
So very excited about that. And that'll be hitting the table this weekend. Look for a review soon. But as far as from Essen itself, PAX Renaissance, Plus Ultra, Kepler 3042, The Fog of War from Stronghold Games, not to be confused with Fog of War, which hasn't gotten here yet. Great Western Trail, the 2017, is it, Advent calendar? Anyway, the new Advent calendar, they did a nice thing to where the box is small for those of us that weren't local. They had that giant one that they had last year, but they also had this little small one that's only like 8 inches long, so that was
perfect.
nice. North American Railways, which has been getting a lot of play so far. Happy Salmon, I'm sure we'll get into that. Cameloquin, which is the expansion for Keyflower. 13 Minutes, which is a prototype from Oscar and Daniel, the designers of 13 Days. They had that for me when I interviewed them. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Snowdonia expansion, because there's always new Snowdonia expansions, right, Tony? Trans-Australian Railroad is the new one. You Mad Bro, which is a small little, tiny little game. Airlines Europe expansions, which I picked up in the from the virtual flea market, because we have Airlines Europe and didn't have the expansions, and that's one of our favorite gateway games for any time we have non-gamers over. We also got a gift deck of cards from a Norwegian listener, so thanks for that. That's cool.
Thank you.
Paranoia, again, a little tiny little game as well. Got Oddville, which is one of the only What's Your Game games that we didn't have. Funny story on that. So I was at the booth there, and on Sunday they had 4 games left. I'm not saying they like not 4 different types of. They had 4 games. 3 of which were Oddville. One was Vasco da Gama, I think it was. Okay. And they were like, "Here, take them." And I'm like, "I have Vasco da Gama. I don't have Oddville, so I will." All right, cool. So I've heard it's quirky, but it's actually one of Mariano's favorite games. The half of What's Your Game, but we'll talk about that more later. Talon and the expansions for that from Stefan Riesthaus, which is the follow-on to Visby. I'm excited to give that a try.
Oh, yeah.
Micro World, Jorvik, which is the Viking-themed Spiekerstadt.
Mm-hmm. And Kai Spiker.
Oh, yeah, that's supposed to be in there. I've yet to open the box, I'll be honest.
But...
Martians, A Story of Civilization, which I was lucky I got there when I did because I didn't pre-order it and wasn't on a Kickstarter or anything. It sold out about 3 minutes after I got my copy. So, because I did miss out on a couple things. We'll talk about those in a bit. Pax Pamir, Kyber Knives, which is the expansion to Cole Worley's awesome game from last year. Morganland, which was a gift from Richard Breeze. That was nice. After I got done interviewing him, it's a small little card game, which is, I want to say it was Keydom. I think it's the card version of that game. It's one of the early key games. I forget which it is.
All right.
BIOS Genesis, Morpheus, which Christoph Matsutzik handed me a copy. He said, "Here, take this. I want to see if you'll enjoy it." He's the designer of Craftsman. It's so surreal to have met everybody here. All our friends that we've met. Bombland, so it was on my I want to check that out list as well, not like a for sure pickup or anything. And I saw it and I was like, that looks really cool. Yeah, I'll get a copy. It was like 20 or 25 euros. I didn't realize it's only in German.
Oh my.
Oops. So, yeah. Moving on. Finally picked up our second copy of Nina and Pinta from the Ragnar brothers. They sent us the first copy that got lost in the mail, so I've been waiting on this. I'm anxious to check that out. Evolution Climate, which is the new standalone expansion / standalone game in that series. Key to the City London, of course. Another copy of Wildcatters. Maybe for a giveaway. So thanks to Andre and Rolf for just giving us that and said, "Here, do with it as you wish." So obviously it's going to be a giveaway in the future. Hangtown. Oh, I guess I should say, there's only one more that I picked up. Moral Conflict 1940, which is a war game, sort of. I got that in the virtual flea market as well. So that's it for Essen games. The things that we got that was outside of Essen, 2, Hangtown, which is it was a Kickstarter, kind of a interesting worker placement looking game. So I wanted to check that out. And I know this is going to shock some people, but the day before the thread about Forbidden Stars in the guild started up, I'd actually picked up a copy because it was on sale on Amazon. And then I saw that thread, and I was really surprised at how many fellow elephants really dig that game. So anxious to get to it next summer, realistically.
Yeah, we got a while.
So that's it. So that's all that we've acquired. That's all so far, and another 25 to 30 on the way.
Yeah, that's all. So out of there's like what 8 halls in Essen? Or 7?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you bought 7 of the halls. So the 8th hall, what are you what's on the shopping list currently.
Well, okay, to be honest, I mean, we still have, like I said, those 25, 30 games that you were in shipping. So those I don't consider acquired, as you guys know, because until it crosses the threshold into the
Exactly.
house, don't have it. However, there are still a number of games that I didn't get copies of that I'm either for sure picking up or that I'm really interested in at least trying. That list is Ulm. It's a more kind of filler type game, but it looked really interesting. You guys heard Lonnie talk about First Class traveling in the Orient Express. That was more helmet than Lonnie designing that, but nonetheless, the game, it sounded interesting, and I wasn't able to pick up a copy while I was there.
All right.
The Colonist, we have a review copy coming from Mayfair, so I'm super stoked about that. Rhine River Trade, that looked really good. It's almost, it's all these different ways of shipping things and transporting things, but only trucking is your own. Everything else around the world is shared between the players. So it just sounds like a really cool logistics economic game.
Logistics, did you say?
Right? Roundhouse. This is one of those that sold out before I got to it. But I heard there's going to be another print run in November, so next month. So going to pick up a copy of that. Gad's Hill, 1874. This is a small little game that just had a really interesting theme and sounded cool.
All right.
Oracle of Delphi. I'm not going to pick it up, but I do want to try it. I figure we can play it at BGGCon, which is the new Stefan Feld. Papa Paolo, which is from Quinted Games, I heard it's lighter, but it looked really good. Their production quality and their artwork is really top notch, and it looked good. Clay from Capstone Games, who is a personal friend of mine, of ours, we hung out quite a bit at Essen, and he picked up a copy, so I'm anxious to get his take on it. Feast of Odin. I'll be honest, I never saw it. I never saw it the entire time at Essen. And I come back, and now it's everywhere on social media. Oh, it's the greatest thing in the world. It's the best Uwe game. Cool. I'll try it. I'll check it out at BGGCon and maybe pick up a copy there, but never saw it. Million Club and Hellas are the last two games that I wanted to really kind of investigate a little bit more. That I believe it or not, I just didn't have the time. So those are two more I want to maybe see what the reviews are like on those and the feedback, and then maybe pick them up blind and try them if the feedback's good. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much the list.
All right.
And if you didn't hear it, that's probably because it's on the way.
Yeah.
So you'll hear about it hopefully next episode.
Let's hope.
All right. So I brought home the bacon, so to speak, in the form of games.
Yes.
What are you excited to play? Any of them?
Yeah, I'm excited to play Plus Ultra, Great Western Trail, and I'd like PAX Renaissance. You guys played that on Sunday.
Yeah, one of the listeners of the show was in town here, Grayson, and he stopped by, and he gave us actually a few months' notice.
Yeah.
So we coordinated it, and we played a few games on Sunday. And PAX Renaissance was one of them, and it was a bit of a struggle to fight through the rules because none of the three of us had played. But yeah, once it started to click, then we all really started to enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that for sure.
Anything else, or is that off the top of your head?
That's off the top of my head. We played Kepler 3042. That was a lot of fun. We played that on Saturday. I really enjoyed that. It's another game, obviously, that you got there. You described it as a 3X game, not a 4X game, which I think is very apt because there's no extermination.
Right.
But all the other X's are there. And there's so much replayability and variability because you have different bonus points, in-game scoring cards. There's advanced ones. There's tons of different planets. Some you don't use. The places that you put them out are different every game. It was very enjoyable. And whenever we first started playing, it said that there was going to be 16 rounds. And we all kind of looked at each other like,
Wow, that's going to take a long time.
Yeah, but it really didn't. And, by the end, we all wanted a couple more rounds, which is the sign of a good game, I feel. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that a little bit more.
So interesting note, because that was our first time playing it.
Yep.
And I had learned from the rule book, and I'll be honest, the rule book was pretty good. Although we played one rule wrong, which actually made it more difficult.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, because when I taught the game for the next group to play it after us at our game day, they were like, "Oh no, that you don't have to do this." And I was like, "Oh, my bad. I totally missed that." And afterwards, they were like, it seemed a little too easy.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm interested to play it correctly, obviously.
Right.
Play it a few times correctly, but then I want to also revert back to the way we played it and see, to be able to compare and contrast. And maybe it could be some sort of user-generated variant that folks might enjoy. But it's too early to tell on that. But the interesting thing about this was Kepler 3042 was on my list of things I wanted to check out while I was there. When I walked up to the table at the Placentia Games booth, everybody, when I walked up to the game, I was like, "Oh, it's 3042. Cool. Let me go look." And everybody had their head in their hands with their, a burrowed, their furrowed brow. And I was like, that's a good sign.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I hung out for a bit and watched it, and I was like, yeah. So they were gracious enough to give us a review copy, and I'm anxious to play it more.
Yeah, definitely.
So since we're talking about what we've been playing, go ahead,
Right.
keep rolling.
The other game that Edward brought home from Essen that we played was North American Railways. It's
From Pierre Sylvester.
Yeah, it's an interesting little
And
game.
Spielworks.
Yeah, interesting little game from Spielworks. It very much has a winsome feel to it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good description.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah.
It seems like a very simple, very basic game.
But it's not.
And I don't know what the best player count is. I've only played it 3 times so far, and played it 3 and 4, and it plays completely different based on
Interesting.
between the two.
Yeah,
I haven't played it 5 yet.
I've only played it 3, so interesting. There is one kind of big flaw in it, in that there are different shares of companies,
In different colors.
In different colors. One of which is purple. They each also have a train that goes with it, or 2 trains, I'm sorry, to signify who the CEO is. But the purple company's train is white.
Oops. So get a purple Sharpie.
Yeah.
And just, or you
Paint
could
it.
do like what Matt said, and in a black Sharpie write the word purple, because that's not going to mess you up, right?
No, not at all. It's like those things where it's like red, but you have to say blue because that's the word.
But no, as far as the gameplay though, it's really simple. It's, buy shares. It's build connections, because there's no actual track lane. It's all basically a card game.
Yeah.
And then pay dividends. And there's a lot of emergent partnerships. It almost has a bit of a Neue Heimat feel to it, with the whole emergent, and very short-lived partnerships that can happen in that. So so far, I'm really enjoying our plays of it, and anxious to play it more. You guys will hear more about it as we go along.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Before we get into other non-Essen games that we've been playing, I also have gotten a chance to play Great Western Trail just once so far. But even though I was looking forward to it and I was excited to play it, I thought it would be fine. I thought it would be good. I had a blast playing that game.
Yay.
Absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed my first play of it. Obviously, too early to go too much into it. But thematic-wise, really cool. It has trains. It has a Western theme, which take it or leave it. But it's really well done, and following the trail, and just the way there's only a few buildings on the board to begin with, and then the players kind of Kalis-like build buildings or buy buildings and put them out on the trail that people have to follow. And it's just really well integrated.
Nice.
And Alexander Pfister is just on some kind of roll because he, as of right now, he can't miss.
No, yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, I am super, super excited. Even though there for a few days this week, I was like, about playing more games. I am super excited about our weekend this
Yeah.
weekend. I cannot wait to play that.
Yeah.
As well as Princess of the Renaissance. But anyway, moral of the story, had a blast playing Great Western Trail. Can't wait for you to play
Me
it.
too. I'm very excited.
Also, while I was at Essen, which if I'm spoiling questions, I apologize. 3 games. I played 3 games in 5 days, basically. The first game I played, Happy Salmon.
Because why not?
Yeah, we'll go with it. A secret game I can't talk about yet, sorry. But you guys are going to be excited about it. And the third is Fuji Flush, which I played with a bunch of people at the Heavy Cardboard meetup. So I kind of played at it, kind of a half-assed, I'll be honest, because I was too busy worrying about how everyone was doing and all that. But that's it. That's mine. What you got? What else? Pre-Essen.
Pre-Essen, we played Imperios Millenarios. Played that with 6. It was great, as always, but we're still being too nice.
Yep.
We've never played the game. Not nice. I don't know if it's just our group. I don't know if we are incapable of being mean. I don't...
Hold on. By we, you mean y'all. As I describe the game, the word no. You need to use the word no. Can I trade? No. Can I expand here?
No.
All right. But for some reason, people are like, no, you can, sure, as long as you do me a solid later.
See, the thing is, I'm always so by myself over in the corner that nobody ever asks me anything. I can't say no.
Well, then choose a different sit or start in a different location.
Apparently. Jeez.
But yeah, definitely enjoying Imperios Millenarios. And I know we're going to get the question, so I'll head that off. I don't know. I don't know the status. I don't know what's been going on. It was supposed to be here last year. This time, and then it was supposed to be here in the winter, and then I haven't heard anything. So I don't know. Just trying to get it out of, I think it's Argentina. So Juan is a listener of the show and a member of the guild. If you're listening, Juan, clue people in, please.
Yep. Then we played 1822.
Yeah, it was okay, right?
Whatever. That was amazing. We played with Paul, Chad, and Tony. It was nice to have the guys over and play a game again.
The band back together, so to speak.
It's, they're trained gamer guys now, so we have to like lure them with a train game. But it's okay. The game was just really awesome. There's tons of auctions, tons of companies. It's just it's awesome. Even after just one play, I'm completely enamored and cannot wait to play it again.
Oh, me too. It's one play, so
Right.
I don't want to, go too far off the deep end, but I very strongly believe that this is going to become my all-time favorite 18xx
Same
game.
here.
Early on, when we were playing 18xx games, me, Chad, and Tony, we would talk, and we would be like, the auctions are awesome in all these in all these 18xx games, but after the beginning of the game, that's it. There's no more auctions. Why? Well, that's been remedied in this. There's auctions throughout the entire game. And what the extra auctions do is it allows you to not only have to worry about investing in your own company, investing in other people's companies, but then there are private companies that come out. There are concessions to start major companies, and then there are minor companies, all up for auction. So you're not only worrying about buying shares during the stock round, you're also considering investing and buying these and auction and getting involved in the auctions for those things. And that game is the epitome of stay on target, stay on target,
Yes.
stay on target. Because, shiny, because every single company and every single private has something cool about it.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, that'd be awesome. Let me grab that.
Nope.
Oh, wait, all of a sudden, I don't have enough capital to buy trains.
You can't do that. And it's hard.
It's the game constantly has a carrot in front of your face saying, ooh, buy me.
Yeah,
Ooh,
exactly.
bid on me.
Yep.
And wow, just truly, truly wow.
Yeah, we had to call it early but it wasn't too early.
No, it was probably one set of ORs done. It is a longer game. I think probably about 7-8 hours. However,
Doesn't feel like it.
it didn't feel like it to me either. I
Not
mean,
at
it
all.
completely felt like, wow, really? It went that long.
Yeah.
Now, I do know that once you get experience with the game, I've heard it being trimmed down to about 5 hours. But if you're worried about the game length and you don't have a cat, leave it set up and do it the following week or the next day or whatever. But
Exactly.
so far, real strong candidate for Golden Elephant Award, at least the nominee for sure.
Yes.
But one play, so we'll see. But wow, really good.
We'll talk later about the meetup in Essen, but what do we got going on for BGGCon?
Well, BGGCon coming up the week before Thanksgiving. Hopefully, there's going to be a bunch of listeners again this year there. Friday at 8 p.m. at the bar, which hard to miss there, at BGGCon. I also have reserved 2 of the boardrooms from 8 p.m. to midnight or later to accommodate gaming after the meetup. So Friday, 8 p.m. at the bar, we'll be there with t-shirts, pint glasses, likely some giveaways, and hang out for a bit, have a drink, and just kind of socialize. We learned last year that it's impossible for us to be able to play a game during this. So maybe if we did the meetup kind of before and then we go game,
Yeah, maybe then we can.
then we can. Plus, it was insanely loud,
Yeah,
and
nobody could play anything. It just,
and there wasn't enough space. Honestly, I reserved it for 50, and like 80 showed up, which good problem to have. I loved it.
Yeah,
But I figured the bar would be a better area, and the boardrooms after the meetup, people can go up to room 1109 and 1110 to game together with fellow elephants, if you're so inclined, or just stay at the bar and hang out. So again, Friday 8 p.m. at the bar, and then after that, room 1109 and 1110 both are reserved for heavy cardboard.
I mean, obviously, we'll be talking about this more. We'll keep reminding you guys. This isn't the only time we're going to talk about it.
There's only one more episode before.
We also have Twitter, Facebook.
Oh, sure.
Everybody seemed to really like the episode we did before you left for Essen, which was kind of just a conversational type thing with me interviewing you. So we thought we would do that again.
We did. Okay, yeah. We did.
We
Okay,
did.
cool.
All right. So let's talk to me a little bit about your getting to Germany experience.
Well, it was long. It was about 22 hours. It wasn't supposed to be that long. I flew from Denver to Chicago. I had a nearly 4-hour layover due to our plane breaking down. Funny story on that. So Clay from Capstone, he messaged me. I knew he was traveling about the same time, except he was going through, I think it was Newark, and then from there straight to Dusseldorf. And I was going Denver to Chicago to Heathrow to Dusseldorf. Well, he calls me while I was on my layover, and after I tweeted out that, I'm having ice cream, maybe that'll make it a little better and all this. And he's like, yeah, so my plane just got hit. And I was like, ¿por qué?
Yeah. Like with a meteor or
Right. And he's like, yeah, as it was coming into the gate, either it clipped the wing of another plane or another plane clipped the wing of that. And he said, yeah, they told us it'd be about an hour and a half delay. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm like, are they just going to patch it up with like duct tape?
Yeah,
and just, hey, you're good to go.
Flight,
and
really?
he's like, y'all realize we're about to fly over the Atlantic Ocean. There's no place to land there. Are you sure? So he decided to self-medicate.
Yeah.
With a couple of scotches and hey, be happy if it goes down. So I was like, all right, travel safe. But
pay close attention to what they say about the floaters.
Right. I told him, I messaged him afterwards and said, make sure to bring your floaties.
Yes.
But all ended up well. So after that delay, I was really stressing. I was supposed to have a 4-hour delay layover in Heathrow. And so I was like, well, maybe we'll still be able to make it to where I can still make my connecting flight. And so, long story short, we made it there with an hour and 50 minutes before my next flight. And I'm like, yes, all right, I'm going to make it. But I was beating cheeks to get over because I had to switch terminals. So I get there, an hour and a half to go. And they're like, sorry, sir, the flight's been closed. And I'm like, I'm sorry? And they're like, yeah, it's been closed. And I'm like, but I have the ticket. And they're like, sorry, we've already booked you on the later flight. So a couple of listeners and I were going to share a taxi from Dusseldorf to the hotel so I didn't have to lug 135 pounds of games that I was muling over in t-shirts and all that stuff. But obviously that's out the window. Not to mention going over to the Messe to get a lay of the land. Yeah. That's out. So I actually did not get into Essen until about 5:30 and then had to take 3 trains to get there, but it was an awesome experience. I met a couple of listeners. They recognized me at the Dusseldorf airport, and we trained it over to Essen, and I made it there really easily. Funny story, though, on the escalator. I did not realize that their escalators change directions. So there's one escalator and 3 flights of stairs, and I'm like, really? And the escalator's coming down. And I'm like, really? I have to lug all these bags up 3 flights of stairs after traveling for 22 hours? Awesome. I was thrilled. So I lug them up, and I get to the top all wheezing and out of breath. And here comes a dude up the escalator. And I'm looking at him. I'm looking at the front of the escalator, looking at him like, you're kidding me, right? And I'm looking at the front of the escalator, and apparently, even though there's not a button, you can just push and it switches direction and it stops. And I was like, now what? And apparently it's the leap of faith. You have to start walking and then it will start going down.
That's terrifying.
And how was I supposed to know? I had all this amazing directions. You were texting me while I was in the air to tell me what terminal I'm coming in, what gate, where to pick up my bags and all this stuff.
I even drew on maps.
You did. It was amazing. It made it really easy to get to the hotel. But at no point was I clued in about the escalators.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry. I should have asked Nicholas, apparently.
So, checked into the hotel. I was staying at the Hotel an der Gruger. I was roomed up with Paul Grogan, buddy of ours from Gaming Rules, as well as Ali. So, there's a group of English or Brits or UK folk. I always hesitate what term to use. People from the island over there.
Yes.
That Paul was nice enough to include me in, so I didn't have to worry about hotel accommodations. Obviously, I had to worry about paying for it, but not anything else. And it was a huge relief. So there were 3 of us stuck in a room. It's a small room, but it worked. And it was cool. The event getting there was long. I didn't sleep much on the flight, but by the time I landed, even though I'm working on 2 hours of sleep, maybe, I was roaring to go. Couldn't wait.
Yeah. Adrenaline at that point. So, of course, everyone's going to know what kind of food you ate.
Good food.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of good food. So before, in the last episode, we had mentioned wanting to eat a pretzel.
Yep.
I failed. I'm sorry. Currywurst. I enjoyed it. It's basically a hot dog in some sort of sweet curry ketchup-y type sauce. It's hard to describe. It's a little too sweet for my liking, but it wasn't bad. It was good. Also had the highlight of the trip as far as the food. I also had schnitzel, which was delicious, but the highlight was, and I'm going to butcher this, I apologize, but I'm trying, Schweinsachsel. And it translates to pork knuckle, and it's basically a ham hock with crackling all around the outside, served with sauerkraut and fried potatoes. It was so good. Oh, it was delicious. I should note that, remember, even though I went to Essen and had all this food, still lost weight.
Sure.
Just saying. It helps when you walk 5 miles a day. But the other thing, I went to dinner one night with Rolf and Andre, the designers of Wildcatters, as well as Clay from Capstone. And they took us 30, 40 minutes away from the Messe. And this restaurant, it was a 19th century brewery. And very much not a touristy part of town or anything like that. Walked in, everybody could not have been more friendly. And the interesting thing, they had dogs in the restaurant, which I'm cool with. That's obviously for all our listeners here in the States, that's a big no-no. You can't do that. But that was cool. Maybe they got snuck a piece of Schweinsachsel here or there. I don't know. But for appetizers, they had these different spreads on bread, and we ordered 4 of them. There were 5 of us there at the table, and we ordered 4 of them. One of which was like almost like a goat cheese and pine nut and pesto thing that was fine. There was another one that was fine, but the 2 that I really wanted to mention, there was one that was like a meat jelly, a ham jelly, a pork jelly, something, and which I was really about. Because the jelly, it was gelatinous. It wasn't like spreadable like jelly.
Yeah.
It was not. We all tried it and we all said, thanks.
I don't know about that.
However, the one thing that really had me nervous I was just nervous. It was raw ground pork, which you would never eat that raw here in the States. That's just unheard of. And they served it with some red onions. You spread it on bread and dig in. Well, we all had it, and it was unbelievably tasty. Shocked me. I had 2 slices of bread with it on it. It was so good. The red onions made it, though. Yeah. Other than that, let's see. Nuno and Paulo, actually, I had forgotten to eat for about 24-hour period. It happens. You guys have been to cons before. You forget to eat, especially since you weren't there to remind me, hey, you're right. The reason you're tired, hey.
Need to
all
eat.
Right. So Nuno and Paulo showed me this little like food truck. They had a whole bunch of little food carts within the mesa there at Spiel. But one was outside, and it was steak sandwiches with fresh cabbage, coleslaw stuff. And oh my God, we are going to have that every day from now on at Spiel every time. So it was between halls 2 and 3 on the outside area. And yeah, totally gonna do that for now on.
Nice.
Had some French fries while I was there, and they serve them with mayonnaise, which that's cool. And then their ketchup tastes different than it does here. Other things to notice was it's really hard to find water over there. So I drank, I stole bottles of water everywhere I could, not stole, but I bought, or if at the different stands, the different booths, they had water and they offered, you betcha I'm taking that.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Another thing that I noticed is all the hotels over there, the spreads for breakfast it puts American hotels to shame. Screw this continental breakfast stuff. I was at a small hotel and it was amazing. Had 4 different types of meat, like 6 different cheeses, 2 different types of yogurt. They had smoothies. They had 3 different types of water, mineral and other. They had 4 different juices. They had granola. They had mixed nuts. They had fresh fruit. All this stuff.
Great.
And eggs, sausage, bacon, all that. And then when I went over to interview Oscar and Daniel from 13 Days, they were staying at the Atlantic. I think it's called the Atlantic Congress. I met them over breakfast, and the buffet there was shocking. They had champagne, they had omelets to order, they had pancakes, they had French toast, they had waffle. Holy cow!
Wow.
Yeah, it was staggering. So, long story long, the food was tasty.
Okay. Speaking of the hotel, did you see anybody surprising there?
I thought it was kind of weird. Not weird, because all the designers, they're just regular dudes, right? And dudettes. Yeah. But it was cool to see Reiner Knizia stroll on down to breakfast at my hotel.
Yeah.
And it's just like a who's who down there. Regardless of what hotel you stay in, it was just seeing, oh yeah, there's so-and-so, there's so-and-so, there's so-and-so, just eating breakfast.
Just chilling.
Yeah.
Who was the first board game famous person you met?
You mean other than Paul Grogan?
Well, yeah.
All right. Let me see.
Because we've already met Paul.
Right. Well, he's still famous.
Well, I know, but I'm saying.
So when I went to the hall on Thursday morning, I am very grateful that I had a press pass, so I did not have to wait, and I was able to go into the hall an hour and a half early to interview and get a lay of the land and all that stuff. But as far as met, I would say, honestly, it would be Veronica and Mariano, the publishers of What's Your Game, because I went over, I beelined it to their booth. I think those are the first ones that I met, and then soon thereafter, Nuno and Polo from Madeira and Panamax and Nippon.
Awesome. How was Heavy Cardboard received over there?
Honestly, amazingly well. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I knew people would come up, say hi, that was cool. But that first day on Thursday, 90, 100 fans stopped by the booth or stopped me while I was walking and be like, "Oh, hey, big fan of the show." And that was really unexpected. I'll be honest. It was humbling. It was exciting. It was reaffirming that people out there actually are listening. Sure, we see the numbers. We know you're out there.
But actual person standing in front of you.
So there were a ton of highlights when it comes to meeting fans and listeners. But the two things that really stood out to me was, and I apologize, I forget his name, but one of which was he was so excited to meet me, shake my hand, get a t-shirt, a listener from Hanoi, Vietnam. And I'm like, that's just crazy that we have fans that far away.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. So that was cool. I got to meet all the people, not all obviously, but a bunch of the people that we have interacted with over the last couple of years from Twitter, be it Pete, be it Mira, and I'm not gonna stop there because I'm gonna forget far more than I remember. But it was so cool to meet all these people. The other that was cool interaction was this is sometime on Saturday, and I'm off in one of the empty booths. I had to get into my backpack for something or whatever, so I was hunched over, and you really couldn't see my shirt, I didn't think. And this older gentleman, which I think was from Italy, his accent, I think was from Italy, and he looks at me and he points at me and says, "You're to blame for this." And I'm looking at him like, what did I do? And he opens up his backpack and he points to a copy of Forged in Steel. So that's cool for two reasons. One, that, we helped turn this guy onto a game, right? Mm-hmm. Just and actually getting that direct feedback in person and all that. But the other thing was, Nightworks is a real tiny little company. It's just Don down in Colorado Springs, and that's local-ish to us. So to see a local published game all the way over there in Essen, Germany, picked up from somebody from somewhere else in Europe, that was just a cool moment, you know? And the fact that, I'm not going to lie, it was cool that he recognized me. So that was really cool. One more, as things pop into my head here. So on Sunday, the last 50 minutes I was at the booth for What's Your Game, which Sunday's the last day of Spiel, I tweeted out, hey, if you stop by the What's Your Game booth, next 50 minutes, you can buy a t-shirt for 10 euros. Because honestly, I needed the room for games. So I'm standing in front of the booth and I see this hand holding out 10 euros. And there's Tom Vassell handing me 10 euros for a t-shirt. So that was unexpected, I think, is a good way to say it. So I gave him a t-shirt, and I'll be honest, I gave him two. And he's like, "Well, you don't know what I'm going to use them for." And I say, "Easy, Tom, easy." But apparently he might wear them in some of his videos when he reviews heavier games. I told him, I'm not going to ask you to. I said, but I'm not going to say no. So that was pretty cool. And then he and I talked shop for, 45 minutes or so. And yeah, we get along fine. We just run in different circles, obviously. But yeah, he was totally gracious and just a dude. really tall dude. I'm 6'2", 211 now.
Yes.
But he dwarfs me. That's a big dude.
He's very big, yes.
He's 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", somewhere around
really
there.
tall.
But I got nothing but nice things to say about the interaction. It was really cool. Yeah.
Good. So I'm currently working on editing over 20 interviews that you conducted, 2 of which are in the episode here, and then the others will be shared with our Patreon backers before being released in episodes. And so, who was your favorite interview?
All of them. I'm not gonna pick a favorite, but I will say this.
Okay, fine. Who was your easiest interview?
Probably, easiest. Honestly, I think it was Tony Boydell, even though he was my first interview, because there's a reason I wanted Tony Boydell to be my first interview, because he's just easygoing. Plus, he speaks English. I mean, the Queen's English. But his personality is such that I just knew it would be a fun conversation to have, and it would help me settle down my jitters.
Right.
And I wouldn't have to worry about maybe having my ear tuned yet to the different accents and everything. And so that was probably the easiest, and that really was. He couldn't have been nicer. Everybody was awesome. I mean, I'll be honest, and that's not me just saying it. Really, everybody was super accommodating. Even if their booth was just slammed during the time we had scheduled for an interview, everybody made time, and
awesome.
That was it was really awesome. As far as different interviews, though, let me think here. Probably the one that I came away afterwards thinking, that's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for people to hear that, was Albin Viard's. That was really, really interesting. It was enlightening, and it was interesting from a design standpoint of how he came about his design ideas and where that came from. And I think that's going to be really exciting for folks to listen to. So that was cool. Thomas Spitzer, the designer of the Cole trilogy, Rochefort, Colon Colony, and Hospel Connect, he was the only one that wanted a translator with him, but his English was good enough, I thought.
Yeah.
And just how personal of a story he told.
Very, yes.
That was really awesome. Martin Wallace was extremely candid in our interview, which I was kind of surprised about, but props to him for doing that. That was one that I was like, dude, that's Martin Wallace. The only one that I was really nervous about, I think, was Phil Eklund and John Bohr. And both of them couldn't have been nicer and couldn't have been more approachable. And watching Phil Eklund during the interview, he was hopping from one foot to the other when he was talking about Pax Renaissance. And you could see just the excitement and about being able to include all the history and all that. And it was just like, I'm sitting there, I'm listening to him, obviously, but I'm also thinking to myself, is this real? Like, this is so, really? This is cool. Richard Breeze was great. Being able to finally meet Stefan Riesthaus and Andre and Rolf from Wildcatters, and Christoph Matsucek from Craftsman, and I'm going to forget, Paulo and Nuno were extremely just, I'm happy to call them friends. They are a couple of guys that are super passionate and super real. And by what I mean by that is they're guys that I want to call friends. They're people that you want to hang out with, and that you know that if you need something, they won't even ask, here, have it, whatever, that type of people.
Yeah.
Not to say that the others aren't, don't get me wrong, but just, and it helps that they were at the What's Your Game booth a lot, and I was as well. So I had more time to kind of bond with them than I did everyone else. Obviously, Joris and Jeroen from Splatter were...
Yeah, now don't ruin it.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying it was cool to see them again.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was just, there's so much. Bernd Eisenstein from Panthalos, but also Peloponnese. And I'll be honest, if you guys, when you hear that interview, I don't talk about Peloponnese or Peloponnese. because I didn't know how to pronounce it, I was embarrassed, and so I didn't talk about
Should have
that.
been like, so tell me about all of your games. Can you name them all? That'd be like a dumb girl question to ask. I could do that for you next year.
So one other thing, while it's popping into my head, is I was excited to meet the Board and Dice guys. They are the ones that published and designed Pune Imperium, which is went through a few iterations and became Beer Empire. I've been waiting on this game 2, maybe 3 years now.
It's been a long time.
And when I saw the artwork and I saw everything online and how they had streamlined, and I was worried that they made it too simple. And come to find out, I actually sat down with them Sunday at 6 p.m. after Spiel closed. While people were tearing down booths around us, I was sitting down with the guys, with the designer and the publisher and a couple of the other guys who were awesome. And I didn't play a demo, but they ran me through the game. And I was blown away at how many balls in the air you have to juggle. And it completely relieved my fear of that, which that was one. I've been waiting on it so long. I was so worried that it was just going to be whatever, and pass it up.
Yeah.
And come to find out, no, I genuinely, I still am not a fan of the artwork direction they chose.
Okay.
It's very saturated, very bright, it just almost cartoony.
Yeah, that's not our type of art for sure.
But the game itself looks really damn good. It so happened to just pop on Kickstarter today as well. So check that out if you're so inclined, but I'm going to be backing it for what it's worth.
All right.
Oh, one more thing, last thing, was I'm sure most of our listeners have probably heard by now what happened on Saturday at Spiel.
Yeah.
I know that there were 2, maybe as many as 4 booths that had their cash boxes stolen from an organized crime folk. I was lucky enough, or fortunate enough, or willing, whatever the word is. I stopped by the Luda Creations booth on Sunday after I'd heard what happened. Obviously, my roommate, Paul Grogan, he edited the rules and did all that stuff. I went over to their booth, asked if there's anything that I could do, and I helped proofread the actual Kickstarter page. It's funny, if you look on the Kickstarter, you see a picture of me on there, and I'm actually proofreading and suggesting a couple of changes here or there or whatever. But I think it's awesome the way the community has rallied around them, and it just shows how trusting and how overall how good-natured the people in this hobby are. And just I want to give big kudos to everybody that's supporting that, even if you're not giving money, just spreading the word or whatever.
Absolutely.
And it's obviously gotten way bigger now than the amount of money that they lost, but it's the principle of it.
Yeah.
And I just I got a chance to meet Heracles from Luda Creations, and genuinely good guy, and I was happy to play my little part in helping them. I know R&R Games also had their stuff stolen, and there were a couple others I heard, but I didn't hear names. So, from lemons to lemonade, and that was really, really cool to see.
Good. Did you follow up on your promise to me to drink beer?
I did. I have pictures to prove it.
I haven't seen these pictures.
Sorry. I do have the pictures to prove it. In fact, while we were out at that I was going to call it the beer factory. That's funny. The place they make the beer.
It's a beer factory.
But there were 2 types. There was light and dark, and I tried them both. Now, I didn't order my own beer, so I tried a little bit of Rolf's light beer. Terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, I did not like it. The dark beer, though, Clay's, I had a few sips of that, actually, not just one or 2. And I if they had like little flights, like the little
Well, yeah, they're called flights.
are they okay? That size, I would have had one. Yep.
I will have to tell my friend Anne because that will make her very happy, and she will try to match you with a good beer.
All right, so that was pretty cool. I don't know what it was. It was very dark.
Okay,
but
that's really all I need to tell her.
okay.
She'll
yeah,
run.
It was tasty.
Good.
Not horrible, but I did drink more wine than I drank anything
As long
else.
as you drank some beer and kept your promise,
Yep.
then we're good.
I did.
All right, awesome.
And it's not served in steins. We were corrected
Yes, we
via
were.
email prior. Sorry, dumb Americans. But
Sorry.
but yeah, we'll be more prepared for Essen next year.
Yes. All right, so let's hear about the gathering at Fitzpatrick's.
That was far and away the highlight of the entire career or life of the show for me, and it's not even close. So it's Friday night, 7:58 p.m. I asked people, hey, it's going to start at 8. On Wednesday, when we had a impromptu gathering of 8, it was supposed to be, and there were like 25 of us that got together. I met with the manager and told her, maybe 80. And my biggest fear was 10 to 15 people would show up. And she said, well, if by 9 o'clock you haven't filled all the tables, then we'll start releasing them. And I was like, cool, good deal. So I walk in at 7:58. We have the entire back room there and heavy card boat. If you guys ever saw the sign or the pictures on Twitter, it was a translation thing, no big deal. I walk in, I didn't have room to sit. I ended up having to sit on my own suitcase that I brought that had all the t-shirts in it and was just blown away. I'm not going to list everybody that was there. Matt should be, by the time this goes live or soon thereafter, he will have the full video that Tiffany Ralph, the One-Tar, was gracious enough to record.
Yes.
So thank you very, very much, Tiffany, for doing that. That was speechless. Truly, I was. And brought a tear to my eye, I'll be honest. And yeah, it was. I wish you could have been there. I wish everybody could have been there to just be in the area of just fellowship of heavy gamers. And it wasn't just that, it's a gathering about our show. It wasn't just that. It was just we all had a commonality, board games. But even within that commonality, there's a niche of a subset of commonality that it was really humbling. It was really reaffirming. It was all those things. I was speechless. And as you guys know, I like to talk and that's hard to do. And it was just, I was emotional. It was cool. It was beyond belief. I was able to present Nuno and Paulo with the 2013 Golden Elephant Award, and then Stefan Riesthaus, which I have a funny story, but you guys will see it in the video of Stefan Riesthaus and how I met him. But I was able to present him his Arkwright, or his Golden Elephant Award for Arkwright, and it was just, it was awesome. Truly, if you look up the definition of awesome,
If there's a picture of...
no, just this is what the word awesome is supposed to convey, and it was that.
So wonderful. I'm so glad. So the plans for next year's meetup are already like in full swing, right?
Oh no, it's booked.
It's done?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that the night after. That night I got with the manager and I booked it for 80 more because she can't do more than that. So one small little anecdote. I was talking to Stephen Bonacore of Stronghold Games via email back and forth a few times before Essen, and I invited him to stop by if he wanted to, and I told him, we have it reserved for 80, and he was like, wait, what? Did you mistype that and mean 8? He said Fitzpatrick's is the most popular place in Essen during Spiel. And I said, no, really, 80. I was worried, and we ended up having over 100 people show up. And it was just, so cool. Very cool.
Amazing.
So, it's booked for Friday night, 8 p.m. next Spiel.
2017.
Yeah, so that's, I know it's closer to Halloween, actually
it's
next
later.
year. But,
Awesome. Any other traditions started other than a yearly meetup at Fitzpatrick's?
A couple. I'm hoping to do it seems all the booths go out to like a celebratory dinner individually, kind of. They all have their own little place. Like I know Paul went to the CGE one,
Right.
and because I was at the What's Your Game booth, they invited me to go there, and we went to a restaurant that is traditional for them. So it afterwards, and they invited me. It was me, Nuno, Paulo, Veronica, and Mariano, and Christian, a gentleman from Brazil, and Gil
Gil.
Deori. So all of us went, and we went to dinner, I want to say about 9:00, and they ended up taking me back to my hotel about 2:30.
Wow.
And it was just awesome. Seriously, just everything about that was just amazing. From meeting the fans to meeting the designers, the publishers, and being able to sit in on a meeting between designer and publisher and them pitching games. And that was unexpected and really cool to see how that side of it works, and to see how busy, and to be there with 174,000 people. It was just unbelievable. If the one thing I would say to folks, that if you are interested in the latest hotness, because Spiel is not about playing games, as we said, it's basically a trade fair. It's just a giant shopping place, and where a lot of deals get made between designers, publishers, distributors, stuff like that. There's really no need for anybody that isn't media or a designer or publisher or whatever to be there for all 4 days. But if you ever get a chance to go for a day or two, do yourself a favor and do it. It's a who's who. I mean, everybody from Uwe Rosenberg, Stefan Feld, Martin Wallace, John Bohr, they're there is the point. It was absolutely crazy.
Anyone specific you want to give a shout out to?
Everyone. Thank you to all the designers and publishers that gave me the time to sit and have an interview with, because as crazy as it is there, and as hectic as it is, to set aside 10-15 minutes to just be one-on-one, that was really special. And super big thank you to Veronica and Mariano of What's Your Game, that leading up to Spiel, I thought What's Your Game was kind of a big publisher, which, I mean, they relatively are, right? Mm-hmm. It's two people.
Yeah.
It's two partners. It's Mariano and Veronica. Another thing that blew my mind, it's not a Portuguese company. They're Italian. But it's not an Italian company. It's a German company, because they live in Germany. So
Yo, dog.
Being able to hang out with them, and them being gracious enough to share their booth with me, I really appreciate. And just to all the fans, thank you, because as I say in the video, without y'all, the Essen doesn't happen.
This doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Not even just Essen, just this in general.
So thank you to everybody that made it just an amazing experience.
Try to describe the enormity of the messe.
I don't care if you've been to Gen Con, it dwarfs it. Now, Gen Con, some people will say, is bigger than Essen, and it very well might be. However, Gen Con is magic. It is role-playing games. It is a lot of other things that aren't board games, and board games. Essen, Spiel, is board games. It's 174,000 people came this year. There were over 1,000 different booths. Let that sink in. 1,000. I spent over 40 hours in the messe, and there were aisles that I still didn't make it down.
Wow.
And I don't care how prepared you think you are. I thought I was very prepared. I had everything scheduled. I mean, I had my schedule on my phone. I had my schedule on my notepad. I had everything ready. And nope, wasn't ready. It's just I was trying to pick up games. I was trying to mule games for a few people. I got some stuff. I wasn't able to get other stuff. There were booths I didn't make it to, like the Board and Dice guys. I didn't make it there until Sunday.
Right.
It's just enormous, and it's staggering how big it is. So until you experience it, there's no preparing for it. Just go and be ready to be overwhelmed and sensory overload and have a blast. Everybody that we met there could not have been more friendly, be it local, out at the bars afterwards, hours after, could not have been. And we're not talking like waiters and waitresses, server types. I'm talking just other people at the bar that weren't a part, that live in Essen.
Right.
Could not have been nicer. Everybody, all the vendors, all the people that worked there at the Messe, just highly, highly positive experience.
Good.
Yep.
Was the language barrier an issue?
A total non-issue.
All right.
English is overwhelmingly spoken by 99% of the people there.
Okay.
And almost every interview that I did with a non-native English speaker, they were all very worried about how their English was. And you guys will hear throughout the next few episodes, next couple months, whatever, totally a non-issue.
Yeah.
And I was worried about that too, a little bit. I did try and speak German a little bit. Some people were very appreciative of that. Others were like, no, we'll just speak in English. I'm like, well, I tried. Yeah, exactly. So, but no, total non-issue there. And getting to Essen from the Dusseldorf airport, I was really nervous about it, especially having to take the trains. But having everything planned out ahead of time, total non-issue. Yeah, it was very clear, they're German. They're very well organized, right? So is that all you got?
Yep. I came up with questions, then I gave my phone to Matt. He looked at the questions and added the language barrier one, and then he was like, you're good.
All right. So yeah, just unbelievable experience. Thank you to all our Patreon supporters for helping make that happen.
Yeah.
Thank you to all our listeners for being interested in that. And just know that there's going to be a lot of reviews coming y'all's way here sooner rather than later. Speaking of reviews and interviews, now be a good time to hear from Joris and Jeroen of Splatter and my really terrible voice on Sunday afternoon.
It's really not that bad, guys.
Edward Beckett, Spiel 2016. The con is winding down. It's coming up on 4 o'clock and on Sunday, and I finally have gotten you two free. We have Jeroen Domen and Joris Weersinger of Splatter, or Joris and Jeroen as I know them. So thanks for taking the time, fellas.
My pleasure. Yes, great to see you again.
You as well. So the con's been good to y'all, right?
Yes, it's been wonderful. I never say con, I say the Spiel has been
right,
great.
The fair,
yes,
sure. Habits die hard, right?
But yes, it's been good. Yeah, we sold out Food Chain very quickly. Of course, it won this small award, so it's now very famous. We have 4 copies of Indonesia left, but actually we stole them from one of the retailers and we took them back and we didn't give them. So
it's good to be the designers and publishers.
We had some retailers being a little bit anxious to get them still, and Zimbabwe's also been doing good. And what we see is we have a lot of people who come to play Indonesia and Zimbabwe who know us only from Food Chain. And so they come and they say, oh, you're the designers of Food Chain. Oh, did you make other games as well? So that's really cool.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's really like, oh wow, you've got 2 new games this year.
Or new for this year, but reprints from back in the day.
For us, reprints, but for them it's new because they only know us. It's like, oh, you're that new company.
The price of you guys blowing up all of a sudden.
Exactly.
So, as far as the Indonesian Great Zimbabwe, for anyone who isn't here, what's the process going on for shipping those? How's that coming?
Just the regular price, the regular way. So for Zimbabwe we have everything. So I think they're all of them, or almost all of them, have been assembled by now. So we'll start shipping those out next week, I believe.
Yep. So Zimbabwe is going out immediately starting Monday. And if you ordered Zimbabwe and Indonesia, you have to wait a little bit longer, but hopefully we will have all the other stuff on Monday or Tuesday, and we will ship it in the coming 2 weeks. So everything that goes to the US, it's shipped on pallets to the US and then transferred and then shipped in the US. So it takes a little while for the pallets to go there. and everything that goes anywhere else, it's shipped straight away.
Cool. So it blows my mind that you guys are saying Monday. Today's Sunday. You spent 4, 5, 6 days, whatever it is, here at the con, and now you're gonna hit the ground running on Monday. Take a day. I don't think anyone's gonna complain. Take a day. Seriously.
But we don't. We used to ship every single thing ourselves, but now we have the guys who do our packaging. They do most of the shipping.
Okay.
So the only thing we need to do is some of the admin stuff, and most of that has been done. So
okay. Well, in
lots
that
of things
case,
are already printed and in packages. So it's not like we are going to.
Okay, good. I was worried.
Because Jeroen has to fly to the US or to Canada on Monday, so he has other stuff to do.
So actually Jeroen doesn't mind at all doing it, because then it would fall on your shoulders. Right, I got you, right.
Well, if only.
Right. So you want to take a second and talk about the changes on Indonesia in the map and the...
Yeah, sure, definitely. So we actually upgraded nearly all the components in there. So the map has had, I would say, minor changes, but it's clarified a lot. It's more clear.
Especially around the Bali area, right?
Yes, so we fixed that part as well. So together with that, we improved the company deed. So instead of having map coordinates and only a hardly legible province name that only Joris understands.
No, I can't help it that some people are not up to speed on the topography of Indonesia. I mean, when we made this game, I couldn't imagine that you wouldn't know where some of the islands of Indonesia were.
Yep. But so instead of having that, we removed the coordinates from the map because it cluttered a bit. And all the company deeds have a little map on them showing this is where this company starts. The city cards are also much nicer, so they're now proper cards. They look nice instead of being almost just a piece of paper. And we have, excuse me. So we have, for the goods to deliver to cities, we have wooden pieces, and we still have the same cardboard chits to put as plantations on the map.
But it helps clarify the operations steps of the game.
Quite a lot. So actually in the rules it says to use them the other way around, but the wooden pieces turned out bigger than we expected them to be. But actually it works fine like this, and Joris has tested it yesterday as well with the full game, and his opinion now is it's actually better this way around.
Having it so where you're saying the rules have it the way you intended, but you're saying to do the opposite, to where the goods are the wooden pieces now.
Exactly, because the goods are the things you handle all game, because each turn you deliver them, you take them off again. The plantations you put on the board once, and they remain there for the rest of the game.
Cool. All right. It looks fantastic.
Thank you.
I have my copy, old and new, so I'm looking forward to getting this back out to the table. And that's the nice thing about the new edition is, even though it's only small changes and not really any changes as far as the game goes, it gives people a reason to pull it back out and have it hit the table, which there's just no downside for as good a game as it is. So as far as the Great Zimbabwe, pretty much a straight reprint, yeah?
Yeah, it's a straight reprint. We had our graphic designer look at the colors, and we made the colors a little bit more vibrant, so I think it looks slightly better, but just if you put them side by side. And some of the wooden pieces are a little bit thicker, but otherwise it's a straight reprint.
Honestly, I didn't know that it needed much, so yeah, I think that's totally reasonable. I did have a listener want me to ask one question, and since you're the one that travels as far as how you come up with some of these crazy games, Great Zimbabwe, what was the inspiration behind Zimbabwe in particular? Was it the history of it, or how did that come to be?
Well, so I actually did travel to Zimbabwe, but that was not the main inspiration. I lived and worked in South Africa for quite a while, and I wanted to make a game about Africa, which is not about white colonial rule in Africa, but because most people, if they talk about Africa, they talk about colonial guys coming there and running the show, and then as soon as they leave, no one makes games over about what happened before or after. And actually, Zimbabwe was a pretty big civilization that people don't really know about. And so what we tried is to come up with or to make something about the civilization that's really truly African, and to put as many really truly African gods and civilizations in the game as we could.
So all that is true to form then? Everything that's in there, as much as you could?
As much as we could. I mean, I'm not a specialist, but as much as we could, we put African gods and African art in it. We actually asked for someone from the African Art Museum to help us a little bit on the art. And then the reason we picked Zimbabwe because what it does do is it mixes lots of different years, lots of different centuries even, and areas, because so some of the gods are from West Africa, it's all from all over the place. But what we picked Zimbabwe as the title because Zimbabwe erected this stone monuments which are like pillars, or it's actually a little bit broader at the base than in the top, and so this looks very much like the monuments that we're building in the game. So that's why we called the game Great Zimbabwe rather than naming it after one of the other empires that's in there.
Very enlightening. All right, cool. So the last question then, because everyone's going to ask you, they're going to ask me, they're going to ask, and you know what's coming. Even though here we are finally at Spiel 2016, what's Splatter's plan for 17?
We don't know exactly yet, so we're definitely working on a new game. So hopefully that will be ready for next year's Spiel. But we can't promise anything yet. I mean, it's done when it's done.
Fair enough. Can you say a little bit about what the game is, or
it's too early to tell.
Okay, still? Okay.
Yeah. And we may also do an Antiquity reprint next year as well.
That's going to get people fired up now. Nice job. All right, fellas, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for the awesome games that you have made. And honestly, Jeroen, thank you for being willing to help with shipping my games back, because that's going to be a disaster for me otherwise. So
my pleasure. Thanks for interviewing us, and always a pleasure.
Yep. So yeah, and one other thing. Thank you for taking the Golden Elephant Award and having it displayed here at the booth, the entire Spiel, as well as having our logo up there with Food Chain Magnate. Now I just want to see it on the box for the 5th printing. That's all I'm saying. So
but for that you're too late. The ones that we sold out here at Fair, the 6th printing already even.
Wow, how crazy is that to you guys?
It's amazing. It keeps on selling out. Wherever we bring it, it sells out. So we don't know what it is about this game, but it's really amazing. Yeah.
Cool. Congratulations to you both, and
thank you.
And keep putting out great games, and travel home safe. All right.
Yeah, likewise, safe travels.
So Antiquity, huh? 2018. Well, just. Dropping scoops.
Right.
That's all we do here in Heavy Cardboard.
Oh, did you hear that? That was the scoop being dropped.
So that was cool. Thanks a lot to the fellas for both making themselves available and displaying the Golden Elephant Award in the booth, and having the Heavy Cardboard or the Golden Elephant logo in their booth, and that's still really crazy to me. I'll be honest, but. And Jeroen, thank you for shipping my games. I really, really appreciate it.
And Joris, thank you for giving me a heart attack on Facebook, showing me the picture of the palette and telling me that was all our games.
And for all those folks who don't know how to get in contact with us, Amanda?
Our website is heavycardboard.com. Our email address is contact@heavycardboard.com. We love hearing from you guys, so please don't be shy. Our Twitter handle is @heavycardboard. Our Facebook page is Heavy Cardboard. Our YouTube channel is Heavy Cardboard Vids, VIDS. Our Instagram is Heavy Cardboard. Our Patreon is patreon.com/heavycardboard. And our BGG guild number is 2044.
All right, I think this has gone on long enough, don't you?
Yeah.
So we're considering a format change, though, starting sooner rather than later when it comes to the show. We were thinking about doing... Instead of every other week, we first started out twice a month.
Yeah.
Then we went every other week.
Yeah.
Now we're thinking about doing an episode every week with a catch.
Yes.
So the every week would be a featured review. or an interview or a series of interviews or something like that. And then the full show, you know, the what we've been playing, the whole front end of the show, that being a monthly thing, but getting more content out more often. So in the end, it's better for y'all. So what do y'all think of that idea?
Yeah, give us your feedback. And on that note, I have been trying to integrate video a little bit more, whether it's little Instagram, like Snapchat type story type things, or just maybe even doing some live YouTube stuff. If you guys are interested in that, let us know too. I know that just the couple little 10-second clips I put up on Facebook last weekend with us playing Kepler everybody really seemed to enjoy that. So just let us know.
Yeah, feedback is this show's as much about y'all as it is about us.
Yep.
And trying to get you guys those reviews, interviews, and everything that everybody craves. So yeah, touch base with us, let us know. And we're also considering doing some first look type stuff. Oh, we just got done with a first play of one of these Essen games and record a little audio snippet, maybe a video, we'll see. And quick 3-5 minute, hey, what's your take on this? And going from there.
Very little editing, just boom, up. Yeah, just let us know, guys.
Yep, give us feedback. And with that, we will talk to you all soon with more stuff, be it reviews and interviews.
More interviews, more Essen, more...
Yeah, we got a whole lot of Essen games to play.
Yeah.
All right, so thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, seriously, guys, thank you so much. It really means a lot to both of us. So.
It does. All right, we'll catch y'all soon.
Bye.
Hey guys, this is Phil Compo from Montreal, Canada. My top 3 picks for Essen 2016 are Terraforming Mars, Stefan Feld's Oracle of Delphi, and of course, Mr. Rosenberg's A Feast for Odin. Thanks very much for the contest. Keep up the great podcast.
Hello, I am calling from Poland. I am calling to about Essen contest, and I have 3 games on my list. First one is 1836. I love this. I love 1830. So I hope to see this game. I hope that this 46 will be a little faster. Who knows? I never played it yet. Second game is Indonesia. I have Food Chain Magnate, and it is great. It is really, really great. In Indonesia, I have listened to your podcast some time ago, and Indonesia was on your top, so hope to. I think that it will be good too. And the second one is the Oracle of Delphi. It is a Stefan Feld game, and I love this designer. I have few his games, and this one maybe he has few years break. 2, I don't remember. Last year his game he has break probably last year. So maybe it will be a good game. Who knows? We will see. Thank you for your podcast, and maybe we will meet someday on Essen. Bye bye.
Hey Edward, hey Amanda. This is Eric from Twitter. Just want to say love your show and keep doing what you're doing. Top 3 Essen games: A Feast for Odin, Oracle of Delphi, and Great Western Trail. Again, I love your show. Keep doing what you're doing. It makes my commute to work a whole lot better.
Oh, hey guys, it's Rob from Australia. Just phoning in relation to the Essen releases. Looking forward to a couple of Kickstarters coming out, obviously, because we get those well after you guys. Ave Roma, Crisis, and finally getting my copy of Vinyos. But in terms of new releases, really looking forward to Plus Ultra, the Court of Emperor Charles V, and two which missed my radar, but which I picked up on the podcast, Flow of History, which sounds really interesting, and Railroad Revolution, which just sounds really off the charts. So really looking forward to that. Thanks for the podcast, and thanks for the recap. The double teaming with Punching Cardboard was great, and good luck. Cheers.
Hi, this is Ben from Greenville, South Carolina. I love the show, and I really depend on y'all when it comes to making decisions about longer, more expensive, and harder to find games. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Essen crop shakes out this year. I've ordered BIOS Genesis because I couldn't resist the heavy microbiology theme. 1844/1854 and the Great Western Trail are the other two that topped my interest list. Thanks.
Hey, Heavy Cardboard. This is Sing Alex from BGG. Upcoming releases that I'm looking forward to are Solarius Mission, Feast for Odin, and The Colonist.
Hi, this is Charlie Morgan from Athens, Ohio, calling in with my top 3 Essen games I'm looking forward to. First would be Yokohama, and then 2 Martian-style games, Terraforming Mars, of course, and First Martians Adventures on the Red Planet.
Hey there, Heavy Cardboard. This is Ethan, and the top 3 games I'm looking forward to coming out of Essen are Terraforming Mars, A Feast for Odin, and Crisis.
Hi, it's John Preeve from Los Angeles, big fan of the show. My top 3 anticipated games from Essen are Solarius Mission, Sola Fide, and Railroad Revolution. Take care, guys. Bye.
Hey, Heavy Cardboard fans. John here with my top 3 picks for Heavy Cardboard Essen 2016. And seriously, only 3 picks? Okay, well, my picks. Number 3, Alchemist King's Golem expansion for Alchemist. I love that game. It's gorgeous. It's wonderful. Any expansions for it, insta-buy. Number 2, BIOS Genesis. Really excited for it from acclaimed designer Phil Eklund, and expands his BIOS line of games. Not sure anything else is required to state. And then lastly, Key to the City, London. Not typical for us Heavy Cardboard fans, but from the dynamic duo Sebastian Bleasdale and Richard Breeze. So yeah, excited. Anyway, happy gaming, y'all. Thanks.
Hey, Heavy Cardboard. This is Spencer, or Recneps, on Board Game Geek. Just wanted to call and tell you my 3 most anticipated Essen games. Feast for Odin, Innis, and Great Western Trail. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Edward and Amanda. I really enjoyed listening to your show, Heavy Cardboard, and I saw you guys are doing a contest for Arkwright, and my husband and I have been really interested in that game. And we were actually planning on being in Essen this year, and we had the whole plan lined out. We were going to see the Redskins game in London after visiting Essen, and we decided to buy a house instead. So while it's great to have the house, it's kind of a letdown not to be in Essen this year. But we really enjoy hearing all of your talks and learning about new board games that way. I was really excited to see Vinhos Deluxe Edition, Great Zimbabwe and Indonesia at Essen. We are getting the Great Zimbabwe and Indonesia shipped to our house, so we're still going to be able to play those, and I'm looking forward to hearing your reviews.
Hey, Heavy Cardboard, this is John Russo. My top 3 games for Essen release that we're anticipating are the Great Zimbabwe and Indonesia, and probably A Feast for Odin.
Hey, Edward and Amanda, this is Dave Armstrong. I think I am entering the contest for Arkwright since I sold my copy to Kevin, who's coming with me to HeavyCon, because he couldn't get it at time, and now I'm really sad that I don't have it. So I don't normally do contests. So I'm hoping I get all this information right, since I'm not listening to your podcast, because I'm going to listen to all of them on my way to Italy here in another week. So I've kind of banked them all. So I think I have to give you my 3 games that I'm looking forward to in Essen, and it's going to be La Granja No Siesta. I love the basement of La Granja. Lisboa, because, well, anything Vital makes. And then Barcelona. Those are the 3 games I think I'm looking forward to the most, but there's probably a list a mile long that I want from there. So that was just the top 3. Anyway, love you guys. Keep it up, and have a great day. Bye.
Hey, heavy cardboard people. This is Kevin Bacon from Stevens Point, Wisconsin calling. My top 3 games that I'm looking forward to from Essen are Tramways, BIOS Genesis, and to be completely honest, I'm waiting for Fields of Fire, the reprint, and I've been waiting since 2013, and I know it's not coming out on Essen, but hoping it'll be sometime this next year at least. Well, that's it, so thank you.
Hey, Edward and Amanda, this is Garrett. You guys can find me on BGG as Lament, although I'm much more of a lurker than an active poster. My top 3 games that I'm looking forward to Essen are Solaris Mission, BIOS Genesis, and Cottage Garden.
Hi, my name's Stephen Hazlitt. I'm a listener from Houston, Texas. My 3 most anticipated Essen games are number 3, the Seven Wonders Dual Pantheon expansions, one of my wife and I's favorite games, so more of it would be great. Number 2 is Sola Fide, the Reformation. Love 1960. Interested to see if this would be another great area control game for 2 people that could give the 1960 experience in a little bit less time. Also interesting theme, so eager to see what they do with that. Number 1, however, by far is A Feast for Odin. Love pretty much everything that Uwe Rosenberg does. The Viking theme looks cool, and as overwhelming as it is, I think those 60 action spaces are going to be something that's going to give a lot of replayability to this one. So those are the 3, Seven Wonders Dual Pantheon, Sola Fide, and A Feast for Odin.
Hi, this is Ambi.
And this is Toby.
And since we're 2 people, we'll each say 3 things we're excited for Essen. I'm excited for A Feast for Odin, Adrenaline, and the Winner's Circle reprint.
And I'm excited for The Great Zimbabwe, Indonesia, and all the 18xx's, like 1881 Berlin and 1859 for the Winsome Essen set.
Even though we have that.
Yeah, but we haven't played it yet. All right, bye.
Bye.
Hey, Edward and Amanda. It's Kyle Vanderwood from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I love the show, guys. I wanted to say that the 3 games I'm looking forward to from Essen this year are Great Western Trail, A Feast for Odin, and BIOS Genesis.
Hi, this is Ross. My top 3 anticipated for Essen is number 1, Feast for Odin, number 2, Orleans, Trade and Intrigue, and number 3, Fields of Green.
Hi, Heavy Cardboard. This is Zach from New Hampshire calling in for your contest for the most anticipated Essen releases. I was really hoping for Caravan at Essen, but it looks like that's not going to happen. So instead, I will go with Key to the City, Jorvik, and Ulm. Thanks for the great podcast, and keep it up.
Hi, folks. This is Jared, or Bizwang, on BGG. My top 3 games from Essen: Terraforming Mars. It's gotten such rave reviews. I have to check it out. Great Western Trail. I don't know anything about it, but Alexander Pfister impresses me time and time again. And Cry Havoc. I thought to myself, I have Kemet. I don't need another game like this. I never even get to play Kemet, but everyone's saying they love it, so I got to check it out. Thank you so much for your unique perspective. I know when I turn into your show, I'll never hear something I've already heard on another show. So I love it. Thanks so much.
Hey guys, thanks for this contest and for the podcast. I'm pretty new to the hobby and I jumped kind of right into middleweight gaming and moving my way up to heavy games. From what I gather about what's coming out at Essen, I'm most excited for A Feast for Odin because it's Uwe Rosenberg and Vikings and what's not to love. And I am also pretty jazzed about Peak Boil. I think that looks like a really interesting game. I'm digging the minimalist artwork, the theme, and looks like there's going to be some interesting decisions to be making in that game. And just for fun, because I like to hang out with my non-gaming buddies and drink some beers, I'm looking forward to Small Star Empires.
Howdy, Heavy Cardboard. This is Kenny, long-time listener, first-time caller. My top 3 Essen anticipation list looks like this. Number 3, Solaris Mission. I'm punting a bit on this one, but it says it's an economic civilization game set in space with dice drafting. Plus Spielworks is putting it out. Enough of those keywords push the right buttons, so I'm keeping my eye out for this. Number 2, Great Western Trail. The theme is interesting, but this makes it on the list mainly because of name recognition. Alexander Pfister really nailed the deep, medium Euro category I love with Mombasa, and I hope he can do it again. Finally, number 1 has to be Railroad Revolution. This is a known quality for me, since I was fortunate enough to get to participate in one of the last playtest sessions. What's Your Game has done it again for me. I would definitely consider this a more streamlined title for them, but there's nothing wrong with that if it means I can play the game more often. That's it for me, and I hope Edward has fun checking off his Essen anticipation list.
Hi, Edward and Amanda. This is Adam Brocker. Just calling to count down my top 3 from Essen this year. Number 3 would be Solarius Mission from Spiel. My number 2 game would be Inish. Number 1, of course, is Great Western Trail from Alexander Pfister, who did Mombasa. I love the Western theme of it, and of course, Stronghold Games has just been producing fantastic titles. So those are my top 3. Thanks. Love the show. Look forward to hearing you guys' Essen list. Bye.
Hello, this is Scott from Louisville, and I am leaving my top 3 Essen anticipated games, and in fairness, I've divided them into expansions and base games. The expansions first, Orléans, or Orleans as some people call it, Handel and Intrigue, that's an expansion. Looks pretty interesting. Russian Railroads, American Railroads, there's really nothing I've seen about that other than the name, but just seeing another expansion for Russian Railroads piques my interest. And then there's an expansion that's supposed to be out for Targi, which is a really good 2-player game, and I think it's time for an expansion. It's going to really help. There's been a big resurgence of interest in that game, and whenever it's available, people rush to get it. So having the expansion out is going to be really great, I think, also. And then moving on to the 3 base games, Jorvik, which is a retheme of Die Speicherstadt, which is a Stefan Feld game. That's a Stronghold Games retheming with a Viking theme, and that is supposed to include the Kai Spiker expansion to the original Speicherstadt game, which is very difficult to get a hold of, even in German. So there are a lot of folks who have been looking to find the expansion and can't find it, and this way they'll be able to get it all, except it'll just be rethemed. Hopefully that it will be just as good as the original, if not better. And then Key to the City London. This is another game basically in the Keyflower series, so that's going to be interesting. Certainly enjoyed the London theme there. And then last but not least, Railroad Revolution, which I know is undergoing some play testing right now by What's Your Game. Over the past couple of years, as I've played heavier games, I've gotten to where that company is putting out games of more interest, like Signore and possibly Jean Guo. I might be trying before too long, and really enjoy games with a railroad theme. I'm hoping that this has some semblance to the industry, to where it's thought through and to where it's going to be thematically integrated in a nice way. So very, very interested in seeing what comes out of Essen there. So thanks a lot for the contest and for hearing what we have to say. Again, this has been Scott in Louisville, and thanks for the great podcast. Really enjoy it.
Hey guys, this is Brandon from Johnson City, Tennessee. Just calling in to enter the contest, and my top 3 games coming out at Essen this year are probably A Feast for Odin, La Granja No Siesta, and Ennis.
Hey, my name is Joe, user A Simple Surgeon on BGG, and I wanted to tell you my top 3 most anticipated games for Essen releases this year. So in no particular order, I am looking forward to Solarius Mission. Big fan of the Granja, and hoping this might even be, something that came a little more appealing to me. Hopefully a little bit heavier, but we'll see. Next up, I really am looking forward to PAX Renaissance. Big fan of the Freerunner and Premiere. So after reading that designer diary that went up on BGG a little while ago, I was pretty excited for that. So really curious to see how that plays. And then finally, I'm pretty excited about Key to the City of London. I'm a big fan of Keyflower, so hopefully this just makes that scene even more interesting, and we'll see how it goes. All right, well, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much, Edward and Amanda.
Hi, this is Zach Heiler from Orlando, Florida, and I'm calling to enter the Heavy Cardboard contest. the three most anticipated titles for me for Essen this year. The first one is easy. It's A Feast for Odin, Uwe Rosenberg. It looks gigantic, and it's either going to be a glorious masterpiece or a glorious mess. But either way, I want to try it out, find out what it is. Pretty happy that I don't have to be the one to lug it over from Germany this year, so that's a plus. Number two would probably be Great Western Trail. It's Alexander Pfister's new game, who did Mombasa and Broom Service and what else? Isle of Skye. He's been just on a roll lately with a bunch of cool games at a variety of weights, and I'm really excited to see what he does with this one. The last one is probably Key to the City, London. It is a spiritual successor to Keyflower, which is one of my top three favorite games of all time. I'm a little skeptical about it. It seems like it's mostly Keyflower plus this other new mechanic, and it's gonna have to really work out to unthrone Keyflower, but I'm really interested to see what they do with it.
Hey, this is Phil Hendrickson on BGG, known as Drum Phil, and I wanted to give you my top three anticipated Essen releases. So number 3 is Great Western Trail by Alexander Pfister. Number 2, Concordia, Gallia and Corsica expansion. And then because I work at a Lutheran university, we're of course very interested in the Reformation and all the games coming out for that anniversary. So my number 1 is Sola Fide, the Reformation from Stronghold Games. So that's what's got me excited, and I look forward to hearing other people's lists. Thanks.
Hey guys, it's Tony here. My top 3 Essen games that I'm excited for are Innis, A Feast for Odin, and The Oracle of Delphi.
Hey, Heavy Cardboard, this is Josh Lowen in Newburgh, Indiana. For my top 3 Essen games I'm looking forward to, top 3 I have are, first one's a reprint from Uwe Rosenberg, At the Gates of Loyang. Second is Uwe Rosenberg's big game, Feast for Odin, that's coming out from Z-Man Games. And lastly, again, most looking forward to is Stefan Feld's new game, Oracle of Delphi, published from Hallgame and Pegasus Spiel.
Hi, my name is Edward. This is Chris calling from New York with my top 3 games from Essen. I'm actually looking at a stack of games on my floor right now, and I guess I've run out of space on my 2 gaming shelves. So with that sort of storage space concern in mind, here are my top 3 games. The first one is the Evolution Climate Expansion for Evolution. I know this isn't really a heavy game, but it's one that I'm able to bring to family gatherings and get non-gamers to play fairly easily. So I'm kind of looking forward to have more to add to that game. The second game is the expansion for Alchemist, which is my favorite game probably of 2015. Third choice would be Mario's Genesis. And because the box size is so small, I imagine that even with full shelves, I could probably find space for it somewhere. Thanks for the podcast.
Hey, Heavy Cardboard. This is Dave Aldinger. I'm calling in. Give you my 3 picks. My first pick for Essen would be Bios Genesis by Phil Eklund. My second would be Sola Fide, The Reformation by Jason Matthews, Christian Leonard. And my third, I'm going strictly off of pedigree here, would be Railroad Revolution from What's Your Game? That is by Marco Canetti and Stefania Nicolini, the designers of Zangwo.
Hey, this is Michael Fehrenbrook, and the 3 games I am most excited for from Essen, this is probably buying into designer hype, but the 3 games are A Feast for Odin, Sola Fide, and The Great Western Trail. Thanks for doing this, guys.
My name is Joshua Reeves from Daphne, Alabama. The most games I'm looking forward to for Essen would be Biogenesis, Caravan, either version, and Chromosome and Christ. Well, that's cool. But Chromosome interchangeably with Biogenesis due to the excellent theme on them. I want to say I'm a fan of the show. Been listening for about 6 weeks now. So I've been going back and listening to all the different podcasts. It's really interesting. Thank you for what you put out, and looking to sponsor on Patreon here in the next coming months. That's fun stuff too. So, thank you for the service, and see you guys.
Hello, my name is James Papadelis, and my 3 most anticipated games of this year's Essen are Armageddon, A Feast for Odin, and At the Gates of Loyang, in no particular order.